Is the screen visible and voice audible? Okay. Topic is what are JSP implicit objects? What are JSP implicit objects? Actually, certain objects are automatically available in a JSP. Okay. In a JSP, certain objects are, in fact, references of the objects are available implicitly, automatically they are available. They are known as JSP implicit objects. For example, request object, response object, session object, application, etc. Request means HTTP servlet request object. Response means HTTP servlet response object. Session means HTTP session. Application means servlet context object. Some other things also available, exception object and all, but these are the famous things. Okay, fine. Okay. Assume this. I have a servlet. I have some JSP. In servlet, I am doing this. Servlet context is equal to get servlet context. SC dot set attribute of comma some balance. Request dispatcher RD is equal to request dot get request dispatcher view dot JSP RD dot forward. So try to understand what I am trying to explain. In a servlet's service method, servlet's service method means do get or do post method. Either do get or do post method. We have written this code. We have written this code. Okay, fine. Of course, do get or do post is the service method. It takes what as arguments? HTTP servlet request, comma, HTTP servlet response. Please remember, in real-time servlet, we never ever directly write the service method, either do get method or do post method. What are we doing in fifth line? I told you one day, servlet scopes, I told you. As soon as Java web application is loaded into server, I mean deployed into the container, one object is created that is called servlet context object. The first object that is created by container as soon as the application is deployed is servlet context object. If any data stored into this object, we call it as data shared in application scope. We did two scopes examples, if you remember. One is a session scope, another is a request scope. Now, line number 5. Service method is calling get servlet context method. We get the reference of servlet context object. Line number 6. Data is stored in which object? Servlet context object. Servlet context object is entire project common. It is unique, single object. Now, line number 7. Request dispatching RD dot forward. Control moved from where to where? From servlet to JSP. In this JSP, I want to display the balance. Output generation is the duty of the JSP. No? Now tell me, balance is rupees. Tell me what to print. What to print? Balance to be printed. Whenever only one line of code, that too printing is there, we use less than percentage equal to. Tell me where data is stored? Context object. How to retrieve data from the context object? Implicit object is available. Application dot get attribute of bal over place. Tell me what output will be displayed to the user. Balance is rupees 50,000. Tell me what is application. Implicit object. It is the reference to servlet context object. Reference to servlet context object. Okay. Such are the requirements, please. Okay. So, what I'm trying to say, in a JSP, request object, response object, session object, servlet context object, they are automatically available. Automatically available objects are known as implicit objects. Okay, just example sake I mentioned. In a servlet context object is automatically not available. Call getServlet context method and get the reference of the servlet context. By calling setAttribute method, on the servlet context object, what are we doing? We are storing data in servlet context. Storing data in servlet context is nothing but data is shared in application scope. If data is stored in application scope, in that project, all the servlets can get it, all the JSPs also can get it. Now line number 18 and 19, from servlet, control is switched to view.jsp. Tell me what is the duty of the JSP? Retrieve the data from the servlet context object and display to the user. How to get the reference of servlet context object in the JSP? You need not get it automatically available. So that is application. This is one of the implicit objects, automatically available objects. So that's all, please. 20 years ago, or some 15 years ago, in a JSP, so many things we were doing. But currently in the industry, JSP is almost outdated. But if at all in some projects, if JSP is there, it is only view component, only controller shares the data and switches the control to the JSP. In the JSP, 99% HTML code only written, but data should be retrieved, then displayed to the user. So this much idea on JSP is more than sufficient with current industry standards. Okay, so that is the point, please. Okay. Now, coming out of this, one general question. It is core Java question actually, but every Java professional should know this. That is why I am talking about this. Very, 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 very important. In Java, everything is performed by a method. Anything method only. Everything method call, that's all. Now, I want to make a method call. What should you know about a method before calling it? People feel it is a simple question, but very interesting, very important question it is. See, whether it is connecting to server, whether getting data from the server, Everything method call only in Java. Any task is performed by method only. So without making a method call, nothing will happen. Therefore, for a Java professional, most important thing you have to know is method calling. Okay, I want to make a method call. Before you make a method call, what you should know about the method? At least half a dozen things you have to know about the method. Okay. So assume it is my some Java program. I want to make a method call. Some method call I want to make a call. Tell me what you should know about that method. Please remember, you have to make that method available to the program or not. How? You have to import. This method belongs to which class or which interface. That class or interface belongs to which package. You have to know now. If you don't know, how can you import it? If you don't import it, how it is available? Without availability, you cannot call it now. So that is most important, please. Fully qualified name of the class or interface to which it belongs. That method belongs to which class or which interface we have to know. What is the meaning of fully qualified name? Means package name, package name. No, sir, point not clear. This is core Java discussion. Fully qualified name of the class or interface to which it always a method belongs to a class, always a method belongs to interfaces. But that class or interface belongs to which package you have to know now. Fully qualified means package name dot class name. What is the benefit if you know? If you know, you can import it. If you know, you can import it. If you import it, then only that is available. Then only you can call the method. That is why we have to know that. That's it. Okay. Okay. Through import, you made the method available. Now I have to call it. Then what you have to know? Signature of the method. Signature you have to know. What is the method signature? Method signature means method name plus parameters. Method name plus parameters. If you don't know the name of the method, if you don't know the name of the method, you cannot call it. And its arguments, whether it takes integer or float or boolean or string, if you don't know, how can you call it? That is the reason why signature of the method also you have to know. Very good. You should know return type also. Return type of the method also you have to know. If you don't know the return type, how can you call it? Okay, you called it, but returned value you have to hold it and you have to use it now. That is important. Whether it is an instance method or a static method, you should know. If it is non-static method, you have to create the object of the class and call the method. If it is a static method, class name dot method name. So that also you have to know, please. Okay. Throws clause of the method. Throws clause of the method. If you don't know core Java properly, you feel something else. Void x throws SQL exception, comma, some exception. So X methods throws clause, if you don't know. Okay. In public static void main, I want to call that method. You call X, you will get a compilation error. Why? This methods throws clause having SQL exception. Then you should write, you know what? Try. You should write try block. In that try block only you have to call it. And you should write those many catch blocks. How many? In the throws clause, how many exceptions are announced? Those many catch blocks you have to write, please. Okay. So that is the point you have to know, please. Some exception. Like, see how many things you have to know. Okay. And the throws clause of the method you have to know. Sixth one, not so great. Access modifier also you have to know. Means whether it is public or private or protected. Assume if the method is private, you cannot call it from outside. No? So please remember, as a Java professional, okay, always things happen through method calls only. Before you make a method call, you have to make that method available to the program. How to make it available? Importing. And without knowing that method belongs to which class, which interface, that class belongs to which package, without knowing, how can you import it? For that sake only, first point. Without knowing the name of the method and arguments, you cannot call it. That is a signature. You should know return type. When you make a method call, if it is returning, what it is returning, you have to hold that value now. If it is a static method, class name dot. If it is non-static method, you have to create the object and then only you can call it. And that method call, you have to keep in try block and you have to write those many catch blocks. How do you know? That is why that throws clause of the method also you have to know. Whether the method is public or private or protected or default, if you don't know, you cannot call that method. So that is why these many things you have to know about a method before calling it. That's all. Actually, it is nowhere related to advanced Java, but very, very, very important thing for any Java professional. Very good. Next question. What is interface object in Java? Everything object only in Java. This topic is 50% core Java, 50% advanced Java. Right? 50% core Java, this question, 50% advanced Java. Connection, statement, result set, prepared statement, servlet context, servlet request, servlet response, HTTP servlet request, HTTP servlet response, HTTP session, All these are interfaces only. They are not classes. Actually, Sunday batch over, like half of you felt and they are not coming. But earlier, so many people asked me doubts. Okay, those who are asking, so many times they asked me, sir, connection interface, statement interface, result set interface. But I was not entertaining the doubts. I was just not commenting at all. Okay, reason is some people may be still learning core Java without having good idea on interfaces. That is why intentionally I was not entertaining those doubts. Please remember, 99%, 99%, okay, all objects used in the program are interface objects only. Remember the point. No, sir, we learnt in core Java, interface object cannot be created. Interface object cannot be created. See, driver manager dot get connection. Which object created? Connection object created. Connection dot create statement method. Statement object created. St dot execute query. Result set object created. Connection dot prepare statement. Prepared statement object created. Request dot get session. HTTP session object created. All these are interfaces only. They are not classes. All these objects are created. In JDBC programming, these four objects created we observe. And in Servlet programming, these objects created. In core Java, we were learning that interface object cannot be created because it is abstract. Because it is abstract, interface object cannot be created like we were learning. We were learning. Just a minute, please. Be online. Yes, please. So, interface object cannot be created. That point we learn in core Java. But believe me, more than 99% of objects are interface objects only in real-time projects. Proof is in front of you. Total JDBC programming, SQL exception is the class, driver manager is the class. Remaining all are interfaces only in JDBC. Generic servlet, HTTP servlet. These are the classes. Remaining all interfaces only in servlet programming. All the objects are, believe me, they are created. So that is why question is, what is interface object in Java? Okay. So look at this. Some interface. Some interface. Always diagrammatically interface is represented with dotted lines. Okay, dotted lines means interface. It is a diagrammatical representation. Very good. Class means solid lines. Okay. There is one interface. It has one child class. It has one child class. Child class is known as implementation class. Implementation class. Okay. Who is the parent and who is the child? Interface is the parent. Implementation class is the child. Always class is represented with solid lines. Okay, what is the relationship here? What is the relationship here? Is a relationship. How to create? Using the keyword implements. Is a relationship created in two ways in Java. One is using implements keyword, another is using extends keyword. If it is implements, solid line is not used, dotted line. Dotted line indicates implements. Parent is some interface, child is some class. Very good. You know what is the meaning of some interface SI is equal to new implementation. If you know basics of Java language, parent reference can point to child object. What is SI? Reference of interface. But is object of interface created? No. Interface object not created. Reference is interface type. Object is its child type. Okay. So now tell me, what is interface object in Java? Really interface object possible? Not possible. In fact, interface object means reference is interface type. Object is its child type. That point you have to know. Okay, look at this. Interface object means reference is interface type. Object is its child class type. Child class means implementation class. What is the role of okay, some JDBC interfaces are, observe, some JDBC interfaces are connection, comma, statement, connection, statement, result set, prepared statement. Tomorrow you will see callable statement to call the stored procedure. These are interfaces. So please try to understand how we were creating connection object. Connection is equal to driver manager dot get connection. Tell me, when 39th line is executed, which object is created? Connection object created. For your kind information, connection is not a class. It is an interface. How interface object created? How interface object created? Interface object means reference is interface type. but object is its child class. Child class means implementation class. That is the meaning place. Then why interface is given? They should have given class only. Na? They should have given class only. Why unnecessarily interface given? Thank God, interface is given. If interface is not there, na, you know what will happen? Okay. In the industry, okay, 30 to 40 brands of JDBC drivers are there. 30 to 40 brands of JDBC drivers are available. 20 plus DBMS softwares are available. When software changed, when DBMS changed, when driver brand changed, your project code will change if it is not interface. So now, can you tell me, using 39th line, look into the 39th line, tell me, you are connecting to Oracle server or MySQL server or DB2 database server? Can you tell? You cannot tell. You are using IBM brand driver or Microsoft driver or Sun Microsystems company manufactured driver. Can you tell? You cannot tell. You cannot tell means you don't have knowledge, not like that. Interfaces role is JDBC driver vendor independence. Our Java code is driver vendor independent because of interface concept. If it is class, if it is class, that driver vendor given class name you have to use. In the background, you can change the driver's brand. You can change the DBMS software. But my Java project code remains the same. That is the beauty of interface concept in Java. Okay. So what is the contribution of JDBC interfaces? JDBC interfaces provide, okay, driver vendor and DBMS vendor independency. JDBC driver independent and DBMS vendor independency to Java applications. That is the beauty of interface concept. So this is called loose coupling. In high-end classes, springtime you learn. This is called loose coupling. If it is a class, it becomes a tight coupling. You are tied to that class only. When driver changes, your project code will change. But thank God, because of interface concept, even though driver brand changes, DBMS brand changes, my project code remains the same. It means my Java code is not tightly coupled, seriously not linked to driver, nor seriously linked to DBMS. Change your DBMS, I don't care. Change the driver, I don't care. My Java project code remains the same. This is called vendor independency. Java is platform independent, people say. Yes, operating system independent. Interface concept provides vendor independency. In the context of JDBC, driver vendor independency, DBMS software independency we get for Java projects because of interface concept. Okay. some servlet API interfaces are, all these are interfaces only, please. Servlet context, servlet request, servlet response, all these are interfaces only. Servlet request object created, servlet response object created, I am saying. But their interfaces, how they are created. Interface object means reference is interface type, but object is its a child type. Tell me, what is the benefit of Servlet API interfaces? Servlet API interfaces facilitate what independency? Web container vendor independency. It means, who told only Tomcat is the brand? Glassfish server, WebLogic, WebSphere, JBoss. So many container brands are there in the market. Assume HTTP session. HTTP session is not an interface. If it is a class, you know what will be the problem? My servlet program will depend upon tightly coupled to container. Tightly coupled to the container. If you are loading your project into Tomcat, then all the classes will be Tomcat HTTP session class, Tomcat HTTP servlet response, Tomcat HTTP servlet. Your project is now loaded into IBM company WebSphere container. Then again, you have to total project code you have to change. Thank God they are interfaces. Because they are interfaces, even though your project is loaded into different brand servers, even though you are using different brand JDBC drivers, my project code does not change. This is called container vendor independency. In case of JDBC, JDBC driver vendor independency. So this is called what coupling? Loose coupling. Coupling means linking. Yes, I need a driver. My Java project code linked to driver. My Java code linked to container. Because container only should run my code now. Driver only can do translation and allows JDBC CRUD operations. Na? Definitely my code is linked to that. But that linking should not be tight. If you use classes, it becomes tight coupling. Means totally depend upon that brand only. In the background, if you changes the driver, in the foreground, you have to change the project code. That is the problem with classes. That is why slogan in the industry is coding to interfaces. Coding to interfaces. Yeah. Coding to interfaces is superior to coding to classes. It means in the project code, use interfaces, don't use classes. It does not mean that classes are not there. Classes are there in the background. Use interfaces in the foreground. That facilitates loose coupling. Okay, coding to as they promote loose coupling. They promote loose coupling. Okay. People may ask you, what is loose coupling? Classes provide tight coupling. Means our project code is tightly linked to that vendor driver, that vendor server. Loose means you are not directly dependent. You change the driver brand in the background, my project code need not be changed. You don't deploy our Java web application into Tomcat server. You deploy into WebLogic. My project code remains the same because of interfaces, my servlet programming is not tightly coupled to Tomcat. It is coupled because services required, but not tightly coupled. So that is the story. So many days, so many people forced me to comment on interfaces. Now I commented. Okay. So coding to interfaces only superior to coding to classes. Tell me, interface replaces classes? Foolish statement. Because interface only provides interaction but not functionality. Na? Who will provide functionality? It's a child class. Question is sending the class to background, not totally removing the class. Use interface in the foreground. Send classes to background. That is the point, please. So tomorrow I talked two topics. How to call a stored procedure using callable statement. Okay. Another is connection pooling. How to get the connection using data source. Driver manager style of connection not used in real time in the industry. Okay. Only through connection pooling only connections are acquired in real time Java projects. So therefore, two topics I will talk tomorrow. One is connection pooling. One more is uh, callable statement. Those two are purely JDBC related. So tomorrow is the last class. Today I end the class. Any questions? Most welcome. You can ask. Any questions, please? Most welcome. Earlier, those who were asking, they are not coming for the last 2 to 3 days after Sunday, right? That's why nobody is asking. I can definitely assume that no questions from your side. Therefore, I am signing off. Last chance, anybody is there? No. Signing off. Thank you.